Hello everybody, it's Abby here. I'm so excited. I just sort of got this creative idea about doing an abstract, but I don't really have it planned. So we're going to call this artistic exploration because I don't really know what's going to take place. I have this piece of watercolor paper and it's very large. I'm trying to fit it all on the screen, but if you can see at the edge, I have taped it with this painter's tape, and then I spent just about 4 minutes or so tearing tape and just laying it down. I had no plan, and this just sort of happened, and I sort of felt this thing happening, that it would be like light bursting forth from a place. So everywhere where there is tape, it will remain white for now. I don't know that I'll leave it white by the time the painting is done, but I thought I would show you one technique that's really fun for abstract painters. Just want to take a moment. I know this is maybe boring for some people, but if you're an abstract person or you want to get into abstract, it's important for you to understand and think about the ideas of abstraction. There are different levels of abstraction. Some people are abstract expressionists. Some people are just flat out abstract. They don't ever plan. They don't know what's going to happen. They don't ever have an idea in mind. And some people work with a loose idea and then develop it. So you never know. But it's okay to make mistakes. And I want to give you permission to play. And so when you are first beginning abstraction, you need to have permission to make mistakes and to learn and not be afraid of the outcome, and understand that you can always dump it or you can keep developing it until you're happy with it, okay? But give yourself a little bit of freedom and a little bit of room to explore. And I really encourage that in the student environment, because some of the best artwork happens when the teacher's not hovering over the student. We want to give them some tools, and then we want to let them discover and push. And that's my hope for you in this video, is that you won't do what I'm doing, but you will take this idea and you will develop it into your own language, okay? So, like I said, this is not a lot like Mary's videos in that she has a product that you're creating together. I don't even know what this will end up being. Now, on to the bare bones. I have this painter's tape, which I've almost gone through, and I use it to border my edges if I'm not sure if I want a white border. If you don't want a white border, then don't do that. But I think that it a lot of time it elevates the work. It makes it feel like real artist work when you give yourself a mat around the outside that blocks your work neatly, okay? So press it down really good. Now, I don't know how this is going to do because I just tore little pieces and put them together in some way, okay? And the other thing that I did to prepare, if you can see this is a cardboard, from a cardboard box. It's corrugated cardboard, and I put 2 pieces together to give it some extra firmness because it was bending a little bit. So I put glue all on here, hot glue, and then I put another piece on there. And then on this edge, I just covered this edge with a nice bead. I don't know if you can see that. A nice bead of hot glue. Now, I think that will give us a more smooth application, like a squeegee, as we pull the paint across the surface. And that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to start, actually, most of my color palette, these are the colors I've pulled. Now, I may change my mind. But if you can see them, they are all cool colors, okay? Doesn't mean you have to do that. It's just what I picked today. Even though this is yellow, it is not warm. It's actually cool. It has a touch of blue tint to it. If you can see the difference between this yellow and this one. This one I would consider warm, but I would consider this one a cool color, this yellow ochre, okay? So even though this seems like it's out of place, it actually still is friendly with these colors because it is blue. a blue yellow. Okay, it's a little bit duller. Okay, so I'm going to start by working my canvas from light into dark. Okay, and I'm going to kind of think of my piece, maybe, we'll have to see, I pulled up a piece of that tape, of either land and some light shining out from it like the rising sun, or if we turn this upside down later on, oops, knocked over one of my paintings. If we turn this way, we see what reminds me of living in Indiana are rows of fields and sky. So there's really open interpretation depending on how our colors play out in this piece. And I don't know, we'll just see what happens, okay? All right, so I'm going to turn it around in my original orientation. I've got some messy papers on either side. And in this application, we're not really using brushes. For this thing, I'm going to show you how to be really crazy and just put some colors on your piece. I'm going to scoot this over a little bit here, try to get that focused for you. And I'm going to start by putting some little dots of acrylic paint centralized around this arc that we created with our tape. Okay? And I'm trying to decide if I should do some up in here. So let's just give it a little shot. Just a few. I'm not putting a ton of paint on there, just a little bit. And I'm kind of excited, but I have no idea. This may be a total flop. But that's okay. We're doing it together. So it'll be fun. And it will definitely learn things. All right. So now we're going to take our squeegee that we made. And you could even use this side. We're going to get messy. Okay. So I'm just letting you know. This is a messy prospect. Now I'm going to move in the direction of those tape lines for fun, but you don't have to. You could go a completely different direction. It's really up to you. So let's push the squeegee and let's go in the direction. We're just moving our paint across the surface. And I'm kind of staying localized around those rays of light, or so we're calling it now. Okay, and we're just going to leave that tape right there. Okay, then maybe we want to bring in some pink places. So I'm going to put some pinkish purple around different spots. And we'll just see what happens, my friends. We could end up with something beautiful or something really crazy. All right, so now I'm going to take a towel and wipe this off, okay? You don't have to, but I'm going to. Or you can have like multiple pieces of cardboard to do this with. And I'm going to kind of stay on one end, okay? And I'm just going to pull this through. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Maybe pull this one out. Ooh, very fun. All right, now I'm going to lay in some darker colors below. I think I'm going to start with this blue on this edge here. Put some blue there. And maybe a little regular blue. I hadn't shown you that color. This is getting to be a little bit emptier. So just a few things down here. And then maybe we'll lay in some purples. And some greens in there. Ooh, I got kind of big on that one, didn't I? And maybe a little dark green down here at the bottom. And we might end up doing some black at the very bottom. We'll just see how it goes. We might spread this out more than I think. So I'm actually going to kind of come up into this a little bit. And just pull it across the surface of the paper. And I have a little bit of an uneven surface, so forgive me for that. Now we have a lot of extra paint, okay? So I'm going to leave it set for a second. I don't really want to leave that on there for too long, but I am going to go ahead and move my paper over so you can see here. I actually have this little piece of paper here to catch those extra things. So I'm just going to slide that off. You could save it if you wanted. You could make some wiggles in there, okay? So we can even make some different lines. You could even come back a different way with a different side. And I just pulled up some of my tape there, so be careful. When you go across it, be careful. And make some lines in there with the side of my corrugated cardboard, just for fun. Okay? And then on the other side, up here, what I might do is I might pull some of the stuff on my card here. Let me reposition this a little bit. And bring it from the corner in, like this. To bring this edge in from the outside. Okay, and we can go back with the wide part of our brush or our card and pull inward. Okay, pull upward towards our lines to the center. Now, I have no idea. This may be really crazy, but I sure love the way it looks right now. And remember, this is just our first surface, okay? This is not the end of the painting. It doesn't have to be. It can be, but if anybody knows me, I do like to push it. I like to push the envelope just a little bit. Remembering that we will have white spaces, and I'm going to turn my card sideways and pull into that spot there, okay? When we take that tape off, we will see some white. So I'm not too concerned about leaving white on there at this moment. All right, so I'm going to leave that little spot right there. So for this part of our video, we are done with this portion, okay? So I'm going to leave this to dry, but I thought it would be kind of fun to take our extra paint and do a smaller piece, okay? So I'm going to move this picture to the side, okay? And we're going to use our spare paint because I don't like to waste. And we're going to put this piece here and maybe use this paint to do something fun on this. This is a piece of canvas paper. The other was watercolor. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this paint through. This is going to be a little bit more mixy-mixy. And what we're going to do is just create a background surface on which we can do some other interesting things. Okay, so now I have used all of my paint without wasting even the scraps over here. And we've created a surface. Now you can come in here with a stick, with an eraser, with a paintbrush, with, you know, toothpicks, whatever, and make some things. Or you can take the point and you can do some squiggly lines if you like squiggly lines. But for this, I think for me, I'm going to create like a wall in the back of this. And I'm actually going to lay in just a couple more of those tones because our paint got mixed up. And I do still want to have some variance. So I'm going to put a couple of dots of these colors on top because it kind of turned into a teal green. So in order for us to have some variances, I'm going to put some other colors in there just to give it some lights and darks, okay? But you don't have to do that. You can just use it exactly how it is. All right, I'm going to wipe this card off a little bit. I don't want it to be exactly the same as it was. And we're just going to pull down once, okay? Look how pretty. Okay, I might leave it just like that. Okay, so this is the end of the first section of this. And at this point, we're going to let both of these dry and then either work on them some more or develop them in some new way. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be so much fun, but I hope you'll be willing to try something exciting and new and give yourself a little space to be groovy, as my mom used to say. I'm going to quickly show you how to take the tape off. I did take the tape off the parts that are inside the picture. It is kind of painstaking, but the tip is to use a blow dryer. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you the outside edge. This one, I just had to sit and kind of peel it carefully, and I actually used my original photograph of it before I put paint on it to help me make sure I got all the little spaces where there was tape, because once you put the acrylic paint on it, it is challenging to tell. So you're going to take your handy dandy blow dryer and you're going to hit the outside edges. Let me show you really quick what happens when you don't. Watch right here. You start to peel your paper up and it looks really junky on the paper. So you want to go ahead and make sure you're using your blow dryer just to hit each side, and I'm going to show you how to do that really quick. Start from a different direction. Okay, I know that's noisy. I started from that direction and it looks like it's just going to keep pulling that paper. But once you heat it, as you can see here, we're going to get down to the spot where it was ripping, so I have to be careful there. I'll have to glue that down. But that's exactly what I was trying to avoid, was this right here. But don't sweat it. You can use a little glue stick and position it down. This is one of those learning experiences. Okay, so now I'm going to heat up this side. Maybe this one's already warm enough. Let me see. This one might be warm enough. Go kind of slow and pull kind of at an angle, keeping it as flat to the paper as you can. I found that helps keep it from ripping. If you keep this piece as flat as you can to the surface, you won't have too much trouble. Now this one may be tricky. We'll see. Sometimes you have to put your blow dryer down. Yeah, this one ripped a little. Sometimes you have to put your blow dryer down and then take it back up again. But you're just going to really carefully take this off. And I am one of those people, I don't worry when I make mistakes, because that's how I learned. So I will actually show you how to correct the thing that I just did in front of you. No big whoop. Alright, so this is not very warm, but I'm going to go slow, and if I run into any problems, yep, see, ran into problems there. I'm going to stop. Give it a good blasting with my blow dryer. I'm going to come from the opposite direction if I see a tear. Start in the opposite direction, and then you can still salvage it. This is where I hit that bad spot right there. Okay, so as you can see, let's repair this place right here. So this happens to everybody. We want to avoid that, but sometimes we can't avoid it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you. I'm taking this Elmer's washable glue. Now it's going to show up for a little bit, but it should dry clear. And I'm just going to go ahead and put some glue. I'm supporting it with my finger. And I am going to go ahead and put just a little right at the edge of that crease. And then I'm going to make sure my hands are clean, and I'm going to push it down. Okay? Now it will be purple just for a little bit. Okay, friends, we are at the end of this video. We have taken our tape off. We have repaired our tears in our paper, which is actually right here. I don't know if you can see that, but it actually is almost dried completely, and it will probably not even be visible. I had talked about developing this more, but I actually got the opinion of my colleagues, and we think that it stands on its own, and it's very happy and emotional and very impactful. So we're deciding, well, at least I decided with the advice of my friend Felice Pierce, who's another contributor, that this piece is done. So I want to wrap up this video and thank you so much for joining me. I really had a good time exploring, and I hope you'll join me again for some more abstract exploration in the future. Have a great weekend. Blessings to all of you. Bye-bye.